Jam me beat again, yeah. Tap send.
Yeah, mawa kwa baba tap send so. Tap send mawa kwinya maoma ni wadro forward pibrim ni approach my nyina. Wadra wumrekra. What tap send so de. Usika Bible hiya empower. And nunti na yedi sheshe kakra to wa ebeboa ama yabo account no buy. Mia offer address will say verification needed. Let's sign Mia upload ID no so. Afe show phone no so. Nenya ID card cra o pesa yen saka no so. Ebe to Mia your passport, driver's license, work permit, and then po national ID. Bobia, so ID card ni tra any monophony. Se we are, Mia baby, I watch us to say submit photo. Dani wo ID card no ni tra a training so. Se wo phone ni na wa. Ube to me assign a training view. Afe, sign me a submit photo. Afe, you be here one casa phone. Way bebwa ma will say, phone ni wo ID card no, ayepe, mia ofa ya trust to say, take selfie no so. She say, ubecha ama weni na apenu. Wubia, mia baby I trust to say, upload, ebebwa ama yensa account phone. Why are they? What to me we used to say me shitty so way abo. So ope tap send one semi one. Call your website no so. And now fraying customer support team no. Yeah, that's it.
Reminding you that this is the sound of Africa. OT Radio is live and alive. This is the time we open the hands on this. This is the newest version, of course, the greatest time of our moments now. OT Radio has come to stay. Tune in on www.otradiouk.com, and of course we have live activities more coming on politics, sports, social entertainment, and everything that you request. My name is Sanko Fatinan, so I'm going to be part and parcel of it, and of course OT Radio has come to say this is the sound of Africa.
And so at the the OT show Jumede I friend say ask the lawyer. Mr. Mwase Monfa and Cheme Mifi Jumede bi and Mabe Ram Sesi Antina and Jumede no. There's 8 o'clock London time next year started Mreno Apahonka Kramonfa and Cheme. Now so Sabri Eddie if he Sabria kuzi se non kuno and I say nondu ever Europe Central Time no meno babet na yakitwe enkomo and then so nyame adom lawyer wisdom akaho from wise smart solicitors wababe ken and inti yene no babe twetwe enkomo na wonso anya kwenya na wo asembia watimi abusa lawyer ene anwumre mesrewa frewo nua bi adamfo bi na ka chense ono nso won join ene anwumre ewo dwumadie so esanse we eye akwenya ubetimi enya na wabusa lawyer asembia ekire wadwen na anwumre eden ye ba besusu ho empembebre eya na ba aware mu anase asetena mu ye ka bibi harassment and abuse ekoso ewo aware mu relationship mu na mra no eka sen efa harassment and abuse eho niti true ye ya ba betena amono ne hanom empembebre no bi ohonom a na kwan ya ebefa so ede anya ya setena ekrom ha no ebia ejina ye babi so ejina ye kunu ana ya yiri bi so sometimes no and here na enam so enti na bema no ana woba no odi ne partner no ani ewo aware nim esan se onim se wanya na ebia na setena enkoyi ema no ene yene lawyer betwetwe nkomo na wamaye emu enchechiremu se de emra no ese eba no harassment and abuse in relationship. Ebedi kan e de aseda e de ama tap send ene nwumre yi se wokita imu ema yetimi e de dwumadie yi ebro mini ene nana Kwame Osayitu dwumadie yi wotie on OT Media TV. We are streaming live on Facebook and YouTube. Lawyer Wisdom kaho wakayensa ene enwumre yebekọ ne nchen na yene no atwetwe nkomo sabri baba beken ho emu adwo emu akwa baba bia utie efibia lawyer emu adwo ene enwumre edo eba dwumadie so enenso
Papa you so oye de
nyame adom me ho ye na nso ai
jana dom bibia boko
it means a bibia boko is answer siri na wo wanim no different from last week de no and me hu say a bright pa intino ya da nyame ase say o de siri a hyewe funum ma
na wo kwasa o bibia bibia me
okay yo lawyer tiawamu mebusa se bibi ohonomo a eye foforo aba emraimu ni titiru eye immigration law no bibi ohonom foforo se bibi ani ofoforo de a na ne nei obobo ne tew e de amayen ne yama nkofo ho kwan no mu atimi abusa ensemesa se ne show no ye ntwimu ema ne nkwa akiri bebre within an hour no ese etimi ewie entino major e de ashosa e wa ha
yo we that's pa it's for a jubia and then is in within an hour I'm say 23 minutes about 23 minutes back on perfect yeah. Okay. And an hour and 15 minutes not it's here for a jubia you know I am say immigration law over UK had here it keeps changing all the time and there is always something interesting. For the past 1 week, 2 weeks, Yapa program is, I have observed a trend that is going on at the airport, particularly when it comes to as spouses or partners of skilled workers. There's a lot of detention going on. Now I'm saying, what worry? If you're open and now you're a skilled worker, and now if you're no edikai aba, now train a woba, and who said a lot of detention is taking place. Do airports now, I'm straight away, sir, and co. Now they stop them, question them, grill them, and make sure, sir, relationship now, to edibano, a genuine relationship. So I just want to notify everybody who is listening to me say just ensure say information na media took application form so you are consistent with that on your Uberdu airport questions. Just make sure you are consistent. Na mi pacho mi line break na I'm okay.
Yete wonka. Na Mami Mbusa, based on what you just said, Mami Mbusa, so obi betimi every Ghana ba yaman visa na on arrival at Heathrow no yetimi e cancel the visa no.
Oh yes. So we
betimi amana bansa.
So paragraph 320 of the immigration rules now. There are grounds of refusal, and grounds for refusal, and also, there are other grounds where, if the purpose for which you are coming to the UK is deemed to have changed, and they can revoke your visa. And now, into their details, into their database. Now, almost said information now Woody ma wom at the time of the application. Any nya woody Emma wom at the airport, no any consistent. So there is evidence of conflicting information. Emma who said, and I'm dream say, our no, and yet our repa. Ebia a marriage of convenience. Ebia wako chia ubi, and what it crack and idea cover said, we are Nikuna, we are based on that information, on better me, I cancel will base on it. May what application I may deal with as I speak. Mameno, or worry from her, or to crime, or banner, and in relation for a design of questions. In fact, they stopped him, they stopped her, I'm sorry, and asked her a lot of questions. This is not one, this is not two, this is quite a few other people. But this particular one, they've decided questions about Nikuno or name, Unikuna also wearing no, they've decided anything or see on him in the middle name. They've decided dates of birth on Kai. They've decided say, okay, one called Ghana and Kwanko worry. In a representative or say me uncle, one uncle your friend is saying on kind of thing, make no ukunu so in a representative on kind of anything. A Juma Nikunu Ayampono or see name. And see all in all, say me and my mayor immigration officer now, straight away, the answers you give or refuse to give or fail to give will indicate to me clearly that this is not a genuine relationship. Based on that, the visa was, in fact, the residence card was revoked, and we had to take it to court, and we are still battling it as we speak. And yes, with me, Accra visa, you can hold a visa, you can hold anything, but when you get to the airport and they ask you questions and your answers are not consistent with what is on the database on the system, they can cancel your leave to enter or even your leave to remain, because they don't want to encourage relationships of convenience or people obtaining the right to be in the UK through fraudulent means. So that is what it is. And to see America say, I know of a situation where the person is at the airport, has been detained since morning from Ghana up to Cecilia America say he's still being questioned. Say Omopro maybe son say Ukuno Eba. They ask the woman questions about the man questions about the woman, when you married, where you married, when the relationship started, when you started living together, where was your husband working, etc., etc., etc. Before, if they are persuaded, then they will let you out. And this the application, in fact, not the application, but the visa can be revoked or cancelled, and you will not be allowed in unless you go to appeal. If eventually we are successful, then you may then be asked to come back to the UK to settle and work. Yes, so Nana, it's possible.
Yo, and a lawyer, you move on na yenko and the your person can hosem. Se bibi any hodia.
Thank you. So the detention is an issue going on right now. So Mr. Robia, please make sure, sir. In fact, sir, we are ubia abia untimi and cheap information into Tim and Temwa. Make sure say you start early so that some information about your husband, abia ukuno, and then ukuno and yanomono, you may not be very free with them, but you have to know some things. We do any service or questions. You don't have to have problems about that. Ukuno, particularly issues and dates of your marriage, etc., etc. I mean, you can't have any excuse about these ones. My court on a few occasions, some time ago, home office court, in fact, the judge said, obviously, as to the date of marriage, in fact, about wrong date. She repeated the wrong dates. And then the woman who happened to be the judge, who happens to be a woman, said, I'm not persuaded that this is a genuine marriage because the date of marriage to a woman is very important. Said, if it was the man who got it wrong, I would have excused him. But for the woman, I don't see how you can get it wrong. And she refused the appeal. She dismissed the appeal. So some of these things, it's not being biased, but that is what it is. Certain things you are expected to know. It's yes, Ramo? Unuya, u brother, u sister, u kunu, u yiri or ba, ever become not only as a tier 2 sponsor or tier 2 dependent, as a student, as a spouse, or as in any other category, some informations you don't have to gloss over it. You need to know it so that you can pass through properly. And now, so ukunu eba now obana ne waha yesro kokosha ukunu airport. So what day of kokosha airport so not anqua cooperative problem for you both of you. Say obi na wasomani say omabepa ukunu ana uyiren so please, you have to have a tangible excuse as to why that is the case. So generally, this is what is going on. See, I just thought I should let everyone be fully aware of it. In fact, it seems as though the Home Office, they don't seem to believe us, particularly among the Ghana for. I don't know why, unfortunately, we've become so notorious in that aspect, and they don't seem to believe whatever we say. So please also make sure that she should be prepared now for cooperative problem. Thank you, Nana. And then what we are discussing is the legal standpoint on harassment in relationship, harassment, and of course abuse in relationship. So I'll go quickly to what we talk about when we talk about abuse and harassment and what it constitutes. So. Usha, the definition, the UK definition for domestic abuse, harassment, whatever it is, it says any incident or pattern of controlling, coercive, or threatening behavior, violence, or abuse between those aged 16 or over who are or have been intimate partners or family members, regardless of gender, sexuality, etc., etc., etc. I mean, so you see abuser. If a harassment is part of the definition of abuse. So I'll look at abuse in general, and then we'll look at the harassment also as a component part of it. Abuse, domestic abuse, or domestic violence, whichever way you talk about it. It is any incident or pattern of controlling, coercive, threatening behavior, violence, or abuse between those aged 16 who are or who have been intimate partners or family members, regardless of their gender or sexuality, etc., etc. So it can be between a man and a woman. It can be between a man and a man. It can be between a woman and a woman, regardless of the gender or sexuality. 16 years and above, who are in intimate relationship or have been in intimate relationship or are family members. So it can be between father and son, mother and son, mother and daughter, father and daughter, mother and other family members. All this can constitute domestic abuse, can constitute violence or harassment. So generally, this is the definition of when we talk about domestic abuse or domestic violence. Let's look at that's the definition. It's any incident or pattern of behavior or pattern of controlling, coercive, threatening behavior, violence or abuse between those age 16 or who have been or are in intimate relationship or family members regardless of their gender or their sexual orientation. So this is the broad and bigger umbrella for the whole thing, the big umbrella. Now let's look at the component parts of this. I'll look at this briefly and then I'll see how a person who is, because of our currency area, which are the ways of I'll eventually end on that aspect.
Yeah.
And in the nano, you should say, a better thing, and when you was sitting because of abuse here. Nipa him say, yes, when him say, Kratanti, one and not or the food, not or your yakayaka because of when him say, or no, not okra to me, no, no, Kratanti, who can on farm, we can on farm, not or molested. So, you say abuser, it includes definition it includes physical abuse. There's a what in insa Eddie Ebo Obano, and our banner in insa Ashri Papan Asum, and now or the Bankuta Eddie Abonasum, and now Wama Eddie Asheno. Nina a parts of physical abuse. What in insa and all the baby Eddie Abono, it constitutes physical abuse. So that is one. Also, we look at emotional abuse. I'll go down and look at it in details. We look at emotional abuse is also part of domestic violence or abuse. Emotional, and then we look at psychological, and also a part of the ways of a person being abused. A person could be abused by emotional. And then we look at financial. Financial abuse is also part of that. And now, interestingly, we have sexual abuse as well. So I'll look at it one by one. Now, you share into compartments. Is it using intimidation? It's already intimidation. But before I go there, let's bear in mind, and yet a man and a abuse a ma. Nana message you, and yet a member and quana abuse a ma. A man may abuse a member a lot of times. A lot of the times, a man may abuse a man, but a man, yana almost a ferry, and now also said, what we catch any young man said. Tali enemy or shame power. Now, Anna owns me anchor. And then idea would be on to me anchor. And now I shall home. Minimubia, Obano, Bankuta, near Bankuno. Ordinary Bankuno, hot, Papanico kitchen hot, or KBB, and Yamamini there. Or ye Bankuta with Bankuno or Susana, some say wine. With the hot banku on the bankutasa na odi ashinasum we any violence and but he can only tell that to somebody who he trusts because of a reason of our country people process sana see sometimes a man ethnic physically slap kick the man but but in domestic abuse normally you can't decide. We all assume that a man abuse a man, but there's a high statistics of men who go through domestic abuse, but they just bottle it up, they just keep it in them. But this topic should let you understand that you don't have to keep quiet and die. After all, say, what is the use of the krata to you? You're not going to be buried with your passport. You're not going to be buried with your stay, with your indefinite leave. It's better to find a solution to it rather than to sit at it and die. There are ways that these things can be resolved. Sometimes we invite church members, pastors, etc., to speak into it, which is very good, which is always recommended. But when it gets to a stage where you are dying, you have to actually advise yourself. So you see, using intimidation, it is making him or her afraid by using looks, action, gestures, smashing things, destroying his or her property, abusing pets, and displaying weapons. So sometimes Senya or banning the ever shape of an is more than an insult, it's more than obakasa. Sometimes Senya Papano ɔde ne nsa bɛbɔ table no so kura no is wamfa ne nsa anka ɔbaa no but sɛ na ɔde bɛbɔ table no so anaa ɔde bɛbɔ biribi so kura no ɛma no suro and making the person afraid by using the looks, just the way you look, your action, your gestures, smashing things, destroying his or her property, etc., etc. That is using intimidation. It is part of domestic abuse. It constitutes domestic abuse. So we should be very careful when we are doing some of these things. Also, yes, it is all part of making the person afraid, to intimidate the person. So don't come close. If you come close, it's going to be worse. It is domestic abuse. Then also using emotional abuse. The first one is intimidation. Then people can also use emotional abuse. Now, emotional abuse is putting him or her down, making her or making him feel bad about himself, herself, calling him or her names, making him or her think she is crazy, playing mind games, humiliating him or making them feel guilty. Because very, 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 very bad, putting you down, making you very, very low, killing your emotion. All this constitute emotional abuse. And see, we should again take note of that. So putting the person down, making him or her feel very bad is also part of the abuse. Calling her names or making kissing your tits in a certain way which makes the person afraid or emotionally abused, feel very intimidated. That all this constitutes something or what we call the domestic abuse. That is emotional abuse. So let's take note of that. Another way a person can feel abuse is using isolation. Isolation is controlling what he or she has, or what he or she does. You are controlling it. So controlling what he or she does, who he or she sees and talks to, what he or she reads, where he or she should go, limiting their movement outside and involvement with other people. Jealousy is all part of using isolation. Sometimes, sometimes, unya caller, unya phone caller, or person who's a hina na unene air kasam. How you make, you have to keep a record of it. You have to have a book. Today I spoke to Jojo from 10 a.m. to 10:15. So I spoke to Akosia from 10:17 to 10:25. It's like you have to keep a log of every call you make or every call you receive. That is controlling behavior. That is used. Yes. So who determines who should speak to who and who should not speak to? Yeah. You don't want to see you. They don't want to see you with somebody, stand with somebody. Only a problem about this is all controlling behavior. It all constitutes domestic abuse. Yes. So sometimes we do these things without knowing, but in the law, it constitutes domestic abuse. So controlling behavior is a domestic abuse. So controlling the behaviors of another person, who they should talk to, and who they should hang out with. Outside involvement, using jealousy and to justify the actions, that is all part of domestic abuse. And another one is minimizing, denying and blaming. To minimize the person, to deny or to blame. That is making light of the abuse and not taking his or her concern seriously. Also, so we just say me some back and I say, oh, push you. It's like you are minimizing the action you have made or you are doing, and you are taking it very lightly. Meanwhile, to the other person, it's a very serious thing. But so when I say I grow, meanwhile, tomorrow you do the same thing. So I grow, not keep repetitive, abusive behaviors, and you make light of it. That is also a way of domestic abuse. So, to be honest with you, it's like a lot of things constitute domestic abuse that we don't really pay attention to. So I would say it is very important that we take note of this. So anything that a person would do to put the other person in fear, or to use intimidation, to use controlling behavior, etc., to the other person, that all constitutes domestic abuse. And of course, like I said, to minimize what you are doing, to play it down that, oh, it's not a serious thing, it's like, it also constitutes domestic abuse. So we should be very mindful of that. So just, sometimes you shift your responsibility. Now, you should have done the same kind of and and then the statements they make thereafter constitute all kinds of blaming games, etc., etc. So that also can constitute domestic abuse. And then another one, this is very, very popular with one particular type of the gender, using the children. It says making him or her feel guilty about children, using the children to relay messages, using visitation to harass him or her, and threatening to take the children away. Yes, I say, hey, when you are mamia, even when there's a court order, you are supposed to see the children 3 times a week. Or say, when you wear, and all you wear, it is domestic abuse. It is controlling. It is, you are trying to usurp power. You want to show you are more powerful than the other person, because when I access to the children and the person only has access every now and then. It is all using of the children to better your lot or to strengthen your position. It constitutes domestic abuse. It is. So you realize that a lot of things constitute domestic abuse. So here,
lawyer Matisse said, even cry our for honor, na baako de ne ho ekame the other partner, and also cry a domestic abuse. As sanity.
Oh, Mama Chappin, I'm about. That territory. I'm keeping the sweetest for the last. So just
okay.
All right, that's fine. So Nyawukaine is right on spot, is spot on. So, but using the children is a very big area for people who, especially minorities, and the second one got it through the child. Now the other one is using the child or the children as a prop, as a bait, or as a weapon against the other person. It is controlling behavior. It is a domestic abuse. And then also using male privilege. Male privilege, that is threatening her like a servant, treating the person like a servant within the household. And I don't know people window. No, it's like you are telling them what they have to do. Every Wednesday, take the baller out, take the garbage out. If you don't take the garbage out, you are in trouble. It should be an agreement between the two, and you do it willingly, but not like controlling, treating him or her like a servant, making the big decisions. Or when it comes to the major decisions in the house, it is only the man who makes that decision. That is also controlling and domestic abuse. It should be consensual, it should be agreement, it should be discussion, and then ultimately a decision to be made. But every now and then, one party may make a decision where there don't seem to be total agreement. I agree. But where it is every single major decision that is being made by the man all the time, then that goes beyond the norm. And or if every major decision is being made by the woman because she is working with an international organization, she gets more money, and the man is only maybe doing 2 hours, he doesn't have a lot of money. So when it comes to decision, the woman who has more money says, I am the man, I am the woman who wears the trouser, and I make the decision because I can produce the money. That constitutes domestic abuse. So treating him like a servant, making the big decisions, acting like a master of the castle, being the one to define the woman's role or the man's role, that constitutes domestic control, domestic abuse. I would say, Emma, as I said with my kitchen, you have to be in the kitchen, you have to do the cooking, you have to do this and that. It means you are defining the role of the woman. And the woman is going to say, you have to mow the lawn, you have to take the garbage out, you have to clean the house, you have to do this, you have to do the mopping. That is also defining the man's role. All this constitutes control. I mean, every now and then, like I said, these things can fly by, but when it becomes habitual and constantly drumming it that you have to do this, you have to do that, that constitutes domestic abuse, control, power and control. Then using the economic abuse. Economic abuse is preventing the woman from getting or keeping a job. That is, you can only do a certain type of job because X, Y, Z. You have to interact with some class of people. You'll be exposed to X, Y, Z group of people. So controlling or preventing the woman or the man from doing a certain type of job and keeping that job is controlling behavior. And that is a domestic abuse. That is a domestic abuse. And then also, so Koyejumana, as a Saudi Usikano etu Obana account, and as Obana Koyejumana, as a Saudi Usikano etu account, that is financial control. Or you ask for the money every time, assuming be with 28, or say, Kaukudi Skano, bring the money. It's all controlling behavior, money, and then not letting him or her know about or have access to their family income. It's all part of domestic control and abuse. Now, all these things can lead to so many things. I've talked about the physical one. Now, the physical one is the extreme, very extreme. The psychological, the emotional are all very, very serious issues. But when it comes to the sexual abuse, so we have physical, emotional, psychological, financial, and sexual. Sexual abuse is also part of domestic abuse. How? We have the withdrawal, the denial, and then maybe the unorthodox way of doing it. In other words, Sir Obano consistently and persistently and habitually denies the man his matrimonial right as a husband. He wants to have sexual relationship with you, and consistently every day every day she has headache. Every day she has headache. She's had headache for the last 6 months to the last 8 months. Consistently, the man will feel that he's been denied sexual gratification, and that can constitute domestic abuse. And now, Obama, every single day, he wants to have a sexual relationship. That is also can constitute domestic abuse. And now, sometimes the unorthodox ways of doing it, the man wants to have the woman from the other side rather than the normal passageway, but the other way, or that can constitute abuse. Yeah, I hope you understand. I think we are adults on the platform, so we understand. The same sex. We are not friends now. Gay for no. This is a husband and a wife, man and woman, but the man wants to have sexual relationship or sexual intercourse with the woman through an anal part rather than the normal vaginal intercourse. That can also constitute domestic abuse. So I have explained it clearly as it is. So all this, and there was an instance where the man would always want to have sex with a woman in the bathroom, even against her will. That is domestic abuse. So all this constitute domestic abuse. little things that we take for granted, but seriously, it also breaches the laws and of this country. Then when it comes to what the law says about these things, especially the physical ones, so what you want it can constitute assault, and that becomes a criminal offense. And then it can go down and down against you. Or if maybe you just push the person, he falls, she falls, etc., gets hurt, that constitutes assault as well. And if it is sexual relationship where you force the person without his will to have it, that constitutes rape in marriage. So you see, rape is a criminal offense, assault is a criminal offense. So these issues or the things we've talked about can all constitute domestic abuse, leading to a criminal offense against you. Now, if all of these things are taking place, what do you do? How do you evidence it? Especially when the woman is using this against you, that main pakrat and another man is using this main family passport name main birth certificate name. How do you evidence that eventually? First of all, you have to prove that the relationship broke down because of the domestic abuse. And yes, with PPN domestic abuse now started, our prefer abuse today. You have to prove that the marriage or the relationship broke down because of the domestic abuse. If you can prove that it was the cause, the DV is the cause of the breakdown, you can't rely on it for your immigration purposes, for your immigration application. You can't. So always, you must be able to prove that the relationship broke down because of the domestic abuse, using economic abuse, using male privilege, using coercive behavior, controlling behavior, physical, psychological, emotional. The relationship broke down because of this abuse. That is that. How do you prove it? Evidence. You need to have the evidence to support your application. One, medical evidence. Medical evidence. If it is emotional abuse and you feel distressed, stressed, depressed, please see your GP. Have a record of all that is going on. The GPs will document all that you have told them, not once, not twice, not 3 times, but as and when the pattern rolls out, you have a history of reporting these things as happening to you. Sesana Etia, it is all documented. And if the relationship breaks down because of this, either from the man's side or from the woman's side, you have evidence to prove. Say one called GP, no, say one called Dr. Ho, and there is no evidence that you have gone through this and the relationship breakdown, you have no place to stand. So make sure you have your evidence. Now, do not go and lie that this is what is going on when it is not the case. Because remember, somebody's reputation is at stake. If you write all these things or say these things about another person who obviously hasn't done anything to you, please make sure you don't do that, because somebody else's reputation and his life is at stake. I know of a couple where the woman told the man, the woman told the man, said, I know what to do to get you out of the house. I know what to do to get you out of the house. Neil kind of said, I can use a hot metal on myself and call the police that you did it, and they will get you out of the house. That to me, the man hasn't done anything like that, but because she just wants to get the man out of the house, she is telling him, I can use a hot metal on my body. I can just use a hot metal and just touch my skin 2-3 places. The skin will be bent. I'll call the police. I'll scream and call the police that you have done this to me, and then they'll get you out of the house and you can be prosecuted. That is, to me, that is not right. I think that is rather wicked. But if you are going through abuse, yes, report it, but not to fake it and then put it on somebody else, which might lead him to possibly imprisonment or so, which would destroy his reputation. That is it. So, medical evidence, you have to have that to prove that this is what you've been through. You must also have evidence from if you have gone for counseling, you must have evidence of this. You must have an institution or a body who counsels you. You must get letters from them. And you can also have, if it's a physical abuse, you must have records from the police of all that has gone or all that have been going on over the years. Every incident must be reported. Every incident must be documented. Every incident must be taken note of. Call the police if it is true, not to fake it. Don't fake it, because you will be killing somebody by faking and saying things which are not true just to get your say. Remember, you are destroying somebody's reputation. Don't do that. But if it is what it is, then of course, report it as it is and get the evidence to support your application. So, if you have been for counseling, make sure you get all those letters, or you've been for counseling before you leave the home, if you have to leave the home. And of course, I've mentioned about the police. Every incident has to be mentioned. Every incident has to be documented. Every incident will have to be reported. Make sure you have this on record. Sometimes the pastors, the leaders of the church come in to discuss these things or try to resolve these issues. Please, if that is the case, which is the best way, I would say, in order for it not to escalate, make sure you have documentations to that effect. Whatever was discussed, whatever was documented, etc., please make sure you have that to that effect. Or if it gets to the point where the relationship is broken to the point that you cannot continue any longer, then make sure you get letters from the church and all the people who sat in such meetings to confirm that actually they have tried to resolve the problems, but unfortunately it was. So that is what it is. Now, also, there are institutions that support women who are going through abuse. There's one institution called Black Sisters. Black Sisters. If you go online and you Google Black Sisters, their number will come up. You call them, and if you need any assistance from them, you see them. You sit down with them. You document all your story and any help they have to give you. Even if you have to leave the family home, they'll let you leave the family home, and they go and provide a place. They can help us provide a place for you whilst you stay safe, and then you are working towards your immigration matters. But not to sit and die. Don't sit and die. Don't sit and die. And for the men, they have an institution called Respect. The man is called Respect. Or they have another one called Mankind. Mankind, MANKIND, Mankind is also an institution that helps the men who are going through domestic abuse. Their telephone number is 0182 3334 244. 0182 3334 244. That is for Mankind. You can contact them if you need help or you know anybody who needs help in such a way to support them. The women is called Black Sisters. Go online, Google Black Sisters. They will give you, their number will come up. Call them, sit down with them. They will help you out every step of the way. Abuse is not a good thing. Don't sit down till you die. Don't sit down till you die. Because of paper and that will be young paper no NCA. We are not going to send you with the papers. We're not going to send you with the passport. Leave and live well. Please make sure if you are a victim or you know of anybody who has or is a victim of domestic abuse, there are solutions to this. Now, I think you may have a question before I continue with the application process for people who are going through this. If there is anything you
Yo.
want to add else.
Lawyer M said, and then Emreno ain't we have about 20 more minutes. Ain't Mema and Kofo Hukwain. Na some more question be either the Wabobosui about domestic abuse and answer any other immigration question biana omo ebetimi ediaba. Me hwɛ the way our topic netie na me gidi say MC sa domestic abuse yi eso. Next week, assigned to us, so need me call into details because I have a lot of questions to ask about it. Sometimes, yeah, now you can say, oh, ebia and kwalanti abuse ne koso cry na yeda so ete hon ta ebi nso a ye beka say na me fi papa yi nchen a na me krata ya na ma mi nchen a me krata ya o ya mami na ne meye den na metimi atena anase metimi anya masetena okure mu enu nti sometimes no na no so yete hon sa quickly busuan for sabre so what question bia ema lawyer either the okan ho asemi domestic abuse and now say generally any immigration issue ban UK hanum immigration ubetimi abusa no question o ma onsa so zoom no so mebusa lawyer amount say o hwe enso YouTube and say Facebook nso eno nso no ubetimi edo question no ato chat room honom and say comment section or making kind na lawyer no ede amaye ene anwumre yo lawyer mami emfa question baako bia said the baako a wokan say bia bema ogina ne baso na ede aye na setena ana ogina ne baso oba no egina ne baso na de aye na setena but the other partner is also trying as much as possible to prevent the other partner no from being involved in the child's life. Banisa onipasa no obeyede.
Yo, very, very good question because the idea is also that Nana said, first of all, the American said the child did not ask to be born. Abu Prano one country say Mongono. And it's a whoop papa, any woman, one problems, Mamma Pan also. The child did not ask to be born. So you are both responsible for the child. And the mama said, when the papa no problem, when preventing the money money back. Papa, so when the mama no problem, when preventing the money money back. The child is in the middle. Say, why did be as so we not say, mama no anapa papa say, eh, be anapa papa in time. Ma was mama me my own pray. Mamene na abofane so na odi anya ne 2.5 years. Ana abofane wo mamene nchen papa no afa so a wanya ne 2.5 years. Mamene say me pese obo ho abofane. Sikane de odi kwa account mu an de ende oji. Sikane de oji. Na so abofane me pese obo ho abofane. E ba de sa before we find a child arrangement order as a set with the court. Take the matter to court. Don't take it into your own hands. Don't get physical. Don't get abusive. Don't get emotionally involved in terms of being cursing, abusive. No. It's a simple matter. The law works in this country. Just take the matter to court. There's a form called Form C-100. We call it for child arrangement order. Complete this form. Chiasika is also chair. Pako court. Court no be free case no or be free on be serve oba no na on wa serve won so obviously when out there point on be serve oba no se pese oba no be ho address a wo tia box wo ho we take and as on pese oba man ho address a wo a box be ho we take and the evidence a wo dina so se me pese me hwe me ba me ne ma me ne yento mo titi fine but me ba ne there me ne any problem me pese me hwe me ba now so mommy preventing me from seeing my child. So sanity, I take it to court. The court can get Kafkas involved. I'm going to prepare a report. Set. And yes, my minister, we are violent. We are abusive. We are unreasonable. And now we are controlling, etc. We are drug addicts. And now you molest the children. sexually or anything. So bibisa anyhow, but on one penny payment and I all say then person who will pay prayer, the court will just cancel that assertion and give you the right to see your child or your children. Yeah. And to take the matter to court, not into your own hands, but take it to court. Meaning recently, I think sometime last week, and I would be ever home, similar situation. Was it £250? And then the account move every 2 weeks, and the account move, and my back. Now, so yes, but £250, that's about £500 a month, and the account more, no questions about it. The money never comes back to his account. According to a bank account, no question. But when it comes to seeing his child, she's not allowing him to. And I told him, look, it's a simple matter. Take it to court. And on another occasion, or say the partner made very false claims against him, said he was molesting the children. Meanwhile, Kafkas got involved and investigators spoke to the children and they concluded that the woman was lying. You see, so it's all credibility. When it goes to that, and the judge says that no, you are just being bitter against the woman or against the man. That is why you are doing what it is. Take it to court. The court have dealt with these matters over and over and over, and they can tell who is telling the truth and who is lying. Se court lima order, not say, party now, the order has been given to, does not comply. Set judge said papa na enhwe ne ba no anama me no ko ho plan 3 times a week na some one year juma no man peninsula you can take it back to court for enforcement of the court order. So when this one they can be fined or even go to prison for not complying with the court's orders. And say a man na Emmanuel amupra mo nten mo be so oba no ho abupra no you can go to prison if you keep breaching the court order. And now bana if you keep breaching the court order, you can go to court, you can go to prison. And I don't think anybody wants to have that record on them that they've been to prison. So that is the brief answer. Take it to court. Take it to court. Don't take it to your own hands. Take
it to court. May your follow-up question, but me who say Esther ni Abigail Amana or Monsaso. Inti mame fa omo enunechino mesain aba unchen lawyer. Yo, Esther Mbacho, omit yourself na fa question no Ebra. Esther, still I want meet you until you meet yourself. Why? I want to have a camera, but you are on mute.
Auntie Esther, gracious foster.
Esther, still you are on mute. Yo, yanko Abigail ho na Esther ready aye befano. Abigail, but you ask your question.
Okay. Good evening to you all.
Good evening.
Pacha, you know answer.
Nyame adom yense ho ye.
Me pacha me dia no madam fu be na wanya kakra. Ba ne dia enye aware we enye ba ko ni bi. De enye aware papa ni bi ye tua gidi bi no.
Abigail, yemfa question insia. Mema lawyer, me the lawyer number ebema na fre lawyer na busa lawyer sa question we mami. Why?
Okay.
Really, Mr. Wa minka wano nanzo ahaye kwa ho. Why Mr. Wa?
Intina na me pese me. Okay.
Intina ni mesre se me the lawyer, me send the lawyer number amount na fre lawyer you jumedi na chiri muchire no. Why me that say? You Esther, for question, Ebra.
Hello, good evening. Good evening, Victoria.
Yeah, just mama is saying.
Bacha bako. Lawyer, person me bisa say akola ne di 10 and maybe just obenya na naturalization. Do I need to do Ghana passports again or just go straight to the naturalizations process?
Okay, now me pacho abukan our Ghana passport did our no only be pra.
Or be that the ISPI, so I don't know if I have to renew it or just go straight to the naturalization.
You can go straight to the registration, and we'll find any FM registration, when you find any naturalization now. And yes, you don't have to renew the passport. You don't have to. You can go straight to the we did 10 years as a so here the registration first before you go for the passport. So please, you don't have to renew your Ghana passport, but our business said, have you ever held or has a child ever held a passport of any other nationality of any other national or any other country? Yes. Has a child ever held any passport of any other nation? Yes. Has a child ever had any other nationality? Yes. And then you have to put there Ghanaian. And then sometimes they tell you to send all your passports that you've held valid or expired. If they don't ask you for those questions, they don't ask you for those details, don't you worry. But if they do ask, sign it. You don't have to renew the Ghana passport to do the application, right?
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome, man.
Yo, Esther, everyone on so say. Lawyer, when so busa say anye bia ye ka court to sem ya na ayeye ntrimu bebre entina I say eboye hu kakra. Before going to court, matise bibi e the mediation. Eno no so say ne ho asem etie.
Exactly. Before I just went to the extreme. Before over court, especially in matters of this nature, when it comes to children involved, you have to do mediation. We call it MEAM, yes, mediation and immigration information, mediation information and advisory mediation. Something. It's a long word. You have to do mediation first. In other words, there are specialist mediators. Omono, try to resolve more issue. And say, wono, person the assembly court, contract a mediator. Now the mediator would serve or write to the other party, the respondent, said, bra, a papa the assembly about. And I'm a media semiaba. Branian Tenasi say you bet to me I resolve it matter without going to court and because they cannot and yes at the hockey you just go and waste more money giving it to the lawyers and or even if you're representing yourself, it's time. You have to take time off work, etc., etc., etc. So if you can resolve the matter without going to court, then why not? We can do that. Now, set Obano and our Berman Jitum Nasamumi and what's Nasi. Now, more etime resolve your issue. That is perfect. That ends the whole matter. But set that is where the mediator every letter said, my bomoding said, Mumia no Yamabat Nasi, I resolve a matter. Obana said, oh, and our Berman said, oh, and me the letter amount. Based on that letter, I look at what the court judge him said, you have tried the mediation and it didn't work before the case come to work. But if you go straight to court, the judge may ask you to go back to mediation. I went straight to the final system, the court. But the procedure is go through mediation first, trying to resolve it there. If the matter can be resolved, they agree, they sign everything. That is the end of it. The man sees the children or the woman sees the children, everything is peaceful. There is one I dealt with recently. The man, they have 3 kids, 3 children, and all the 3 children are living with the man, not with their mother. The 3 kids live with their mom, with their father, because relationship may break here. The woman moved far out of town. If you're going to any baby I'm school, it was so far apart that it would take the children about 2 hours to get to school. And it was resolved at mediation. Say, look, it is not right for the children to travel 2 hours in the morning to school from Harlow all the way to somewhere, Camberwell, etc., etc. and somewhere village or wherever it is. It's not right. And there was mediation, it was peaceful, it was resolved. So the kids are with their dad, but the mother has access to the kids anytime, no problem, and life still goes on. So some of these things is just at the mediation stage, it is resolved, and that is the end of it. So yes, mediation first before the ultimate court.
Yo, yeah, well, best 9 minutes aka na yede energy ya barrier. Yemfa Prisla. And so Prisla, unmute yourself now for a question, Ebra.
Hello, lawyer. Well, yeah. Good evening, Ona. This is Prisla's husband.
Hello. Hello, Mr. Prisla.
Lawyer, na patron me bisa me person me bisa say patron mu boa with small claims and so that I can bring you offline.
Yes, we do. We do with small claims. How much money is involved?
Patron, £2,500. Me trio be say me talk her, but as a nipa no deliver car no one so on person be refunded the money for like 6 months now.
Right. Yes. Is it an individual or a body or a company?
Oh, it's a company.
A company. All right.
Yes, please.
You can take our number and call me after. If you text me today, by virtue of where I am, we can't talk now. But tomorrow, WhatsApp me. I can make the necessary referrals. Maybe normally what happens in these things is we do the notice before action, pre-action protocol. In other words, your multi-action say, look, you're trying. So this is what it is. Can you get the matter resolved so that it doesn't have to go to court? Yes, sir. You're Trump. Mama was 7 days. Is no response. And you are done, we proceed to court. Going down, set or no, Eddie Bimois, and now they have to pay all the costs you have incurred. That is what it is. But if you lose and he also takes a lawyer, it means you also have to pay the cost that they have paid.
Bachelor, you. Yeah? So I'll text you then.
Please do text me and we'll see how best we can assist you.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you very much, lawyer.
You're welcome, sir. Okay.
Yo, I was here for
I was saying about the MIAM. The MIAM is the Mediation Information and Assessment Meeting. Mediation Information and Assessment. That's MIAM, M-I-A-M. That is where majority of the cases can be resolved without having to go all the way to court. If you can resolve your matter, please resolve it because who the value lawyer? I will take one from you. Me was the kind of for I think back and forth. But if you can resolve it, please resolve it. You keep the little money you have, and life goes on. Because the solicitors will take money, the barristers will take money, your time is going to go into it, and all kinds of things. At the end of the day, you meet her in court, you are angry. She sees you in court, she wants to fix the bitterness and the
it's building animosity.
Up. Yes, the animosity is too much. If you can resolve it peacefully, resolve it rather than dashing out money to we the lawyers if matters can be resolved peacefully.
Yo, abusia for enchebia ya di jumadi berry lawyer wisdom akaho enene yenene adwetwe enkomo efa domestic abuse ehon enedei say wo any question bia about legal issues about especially immigration by UK hanoma ubetimi edo question about lawyer ebeyi ano ede amount yo lawyer obinsu busa say anye bia Ebani se awarefo mienu ebia ema ewomu edien ena the other partner beye ebema baako etimi akọ court akọje restriction order se oma baako entimi emba baabia ono wo anase emben enkwala ne kra eden ebema na timi abane sa.
When it comes to family issues, a lot of things can go wrong. Yes, I can put me but them say I can also say although sir now to And sometimes someone will say, nipa me no yanka. Almost say, if I don't see you, I can't sleep. If I don't see you, I can't sleep. Now if I see you, I can't sleep. So
if I see you in your background, the big boat team.
So there can be so many things. Violence, especially, is the major cause of asking for a restraining order or for an exclusion, for the person not to come within a certain radius. Physical abuse, physical. If you're inside, fine. And now sometimes sexual abuse, and so a lot of times. I've dealt with cases where it came to I've dealt with cases where there was an accusation of a father sexually abusing the daughter. In fact, the man swore heaven and earth that it is not true because of the relationship breakdown into can just to punish his image. In fact, Kafka got involved, did all the investigations, did everything, and the man was cleared. And because of that bitterness and that allegation of Mamene to Papa, it made him so bitter, so bitter, that he doesn't want to know anything about the woman anymore. And particularly, he's still responsible for his children anyway. So it's difficult. It's difficult. But for a man or the woman to say, don't come within a certain radius of our living area, then mostly it's either sexual abuse, physical abuse, drugs. Maybe one person is dealing with drugs or is sniffing drugs here and there, and they don't want the person to come close to the children or close to their where they live. So these are some of just the three major things that can lead to a person's seeking for an order to restrict the other person from coming close to the area. Drugs, sexual abuse, physical abuse. These are the three major things. There are other ones.
Me da say my last question fi adjoa ehonomo adjoa ebusa se me fa ne se wawo akwala okroma no mu wadi emfie enso how early and obetimi start your application process ewo kroma no mu
se abofana edi emfie enso ewo krom ha the da abofana bedi emfie enso no obetimi start your application that day. And Sabopane Enya sits now, Ubetmia Appendix FM Section PL, Private Life Application for Indefinite Leave to Remain for the child. Now, why we are listen to this. Abopane PL, Private Life, not why we are Appendix FM Section FLRFP. That is Appendix FM Section LTRFPT. That is leave to remain as a parent. Appendix FM Section LTRPT. So that is the parent's own. The child's own is PL. The parent's own is Appendix FM Section LTRPT. Based on the facts and the back. From her. Why application for indefinite leave. In fact, you can apply the same time. With my application at the same time. With me, and then you do a cover letter, make them go for the fingerprint the same day. They will link these two applications, and then you get to say your child will get their stay. The child will go for indefinite, but the parent will go for 2.5 years limited leave to remain. So, date you can start is the date the child turns 7 years. Bingo. The child becomes a relevant child. You can apply on that basis.
Sir, application, second one now, boy, in there, I won't try to repeat it. Appendix FP. You because only are no those who didn't not a mistake. I know. You I was for lawyer wisdom alcohol from wise smart solicitors and then you on OT Media TV. Ask the lawyer. Medino Ebreo. Nyami Yaduma every Wednesday Pia Yedeno Ebebahanum. Indiana Bomodia na Kaya Busia for na Omo Enyina Mayenshia na Yendritri and community to Emra Emu and Semna lawyer Emma Yehu said ye position etie when it comes to issues ye daily ewo ifie empembe brain ya na yenim into mistakes bebre na akwa affecting and so mre emra yebesua enioma bebre efa emra emu ensem ehon ewo dwumadi so with lawyer wisdom akaho lawyer answer na obekono o betimi the last words at the amayen na with the contact details and so at the amayen say base will be pese or no twetwen komo after this show otimi afro.
It's a very, very important topic because a lot of people are suffering in silence. And a lot of people are dying slowly. Domestic abuse is something which is endemic. It's all over the place. But because, thank you to Nancy, because we don't normally talk about these things, and sometimes our culture, Nancy, obi bre o Nancy, you see, meanwhile, somebody else is going to look after them, not the way you want them to be looked after. So sometimes, and like we've said, the domestic abuse is in a very, very wide area. It can be emotional, it can be psychological, it can be physical, it can be sexual, it can be financial. It's a wide range of things. And she said, but Papa this kind of thing in some way is also economic abuse. Yeah, so they are Pascanebra. Meanwhile, remember I said Papa will here, and our men will here. And it's always best to come to at times agree how to resolve this things. Keep a certain percentage to resolve or to see to your family back home. We keep a certain percentage for the household, we keep a certain percentage for our development. Now it gives a lot of peace. Now if you put a figure on it, if you say £100, that will not work. But if you say 5%, 5% is 5%, no matter what it is, 5%. If the money goes up, 5% is what it is. So percentages help more than just putting a figure on the amount. So please, we can resolve it. It is not the end of the world. If anybody is going through this, there is help. There is help. Don't sit and die. The 2 Kings chapter 7 says, why sit we here till we die? So you can move forward and there will be progress. Always try to resolve these things. Now, next week, I will look at Sebibi says, see, NASA evidence, application bang now with me at the home office. First, there are 2 types of applications with me. I'll look at the first one and what you can get out of that. And then I'll share the second one. I'm going to share formula, so we'll take it step by step how to complete that application form. Because so we are our abuse on the way to me straight to indefinite leave from 2.5 years straight to indefinite leave. So we'll look at that next week. Wise Man Solicitors number 8 to 9, the Print House, 18 to 22 Ashburn Street. Telephone number is 0208 0165 384 0208 0165 384. Mobile number is 079 31 411 042 079 31 411 042 079 31 411 042. Yang your Dawson Junction, Wiseman Solicitors, 8 to 9 the Print House, 18 to 22 Ashwin Street, Dawson Junction, B8 3DL. You are directly behind the McDonald's. And to do what? You can call the number, we'll give you direction to the office. And whatever we have to do to, in accordance with the law, to help you to get your stay, we will assist you every step of the way. And I want to say, Nana, that's a neck, you will sign each year. That's
yo, like I say, better say, I bring na ye fra oba na oni ebe obɛkyerɛkyerɛ yɛn mmara no sɛdeɛ ɛteɛ sɛdeɛ ɛbɛyɛ a yɛn nso yɛbɛhu na yɛtumi ayɛ deɛ ɛsɛ na ne titiri yɛasetena ɛwɔ kurom ha no atumi akɔ yie ɛde ama yɛn ɛna yɛn nuanom nso a ɛfiri Ghana ɛba no nso no ɔmohu nea ɛsɛ sɛ ɔmoyɛ na ɔmo ambu mmara no ɛso yɛbɛda ase na nyame yɛ adoma next week yɛbɛsan animu yɛne wobɛhyia yo abusuafo ahanom ɛna ɛbrɛbɛma yɛn ho kwan yɛde ɛba bɛsi ɛnɛ ɛwɔ dwumadie so yɛbɛda mu nyinaa se sɛ ɛnɛ nso moba bɛka yɛn ho Letty, Lydia, Julius, Boama, Florence, D, Esther, Christiana Owusu, C, Equia A, Abigail, Ajua, ne abusuafo a moka yɛn ho ɛne day ɛwɔ dwumadie so nyinaa nyame enhyira mo nyame yadoma yɛbɛsan ne mo ahyia midin ɛne Nana Kwame Oseitu na I was my able producer Ura Ben Ahin ɛne kita mu ma mitimi di dwumadie ɛbrɛw nyame yadoma dasene yɛbɛsan ɛne ahyia yakra mo
Tap send oh. Tap send yeah send more spend less send more spend less send more spend less send more spend less if you want to transfer money quickly waiting for you tap send very safe very fast very secure tap send very easy affordable and convenient tap send you want to send money to Africa and Asia tap if you want to transfer money quickly waiting for you tap send very safe very fast very secure tap send very easy affordable and convenient tap send no fees they got the best rate tap send more send more tap send more oh yeah send more tap send more do send more tap send more tap send me beat again yeah tap send.
Hi everyone, I'm Rebecca, a soprano singer from the Harps Chorale. So we're gonna have a concert on the 24th of June and we got tickets out, so go get yours. And I can't wait to see all of you guys on that beautiful day so we can all praise the Lord together. I can't wait to see you on the 24th of June and don't miss it. See you on the 24th of June!
Reminding you that this is the sound of Africa. OT Radio is live and alive. This is the time we all put in our hands on this. This is the newest version, of course, the greatest time of our moments now. OT Radio has come to stay. Tune in on www.otradiouk.com, and of course we have live activities more coming on politics, sports, social entertainment, and everything that you request. My name is Sanko Fatinan, so I'm going to be part and parcel of it, and of course OT Radio has come to say this is the sound of Africa.